now, and we're talking with gaiashkabos, the former tribal chairman from the Lac Courte Oreilles tribe. He still sits on the council now, and we're up at the landing, formerly known as Herman Landing, and Gosh had quite a bit to do over the years with reacquiring this place for the tribe. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what you remember about the history, and we'll talk a little bit about where it's at today in a minute.
Okay, I'll be happy to, Paul. When I was a little boy growing up, I met, and I was born in the 1950s, and I met this old man. His name was Chris Lee. And I think he was an Irish man. I'm not certain what he was. He had red hair, fiery red hair. I remember that. He could speak Ojibwe, that man. And he married this lady down in our village. Her name was Slater. And he married her. And they started a little resort right here. It was called the Livery. And this wasn't flooded back then. This here was a river that came through here, right here. And but of course in 1921, 1922 they dammed up this river, the East Fork and West Fork of the Chippewa River, and they created this what we have here today, the Chippewa Flowage. It's a 15,000 acre body of water. It's the last pristine body of water in northern Wisconsin, and they had a little resort here, and in the 30s they sold it to a Krasinski, and it went through that succession. And I'm going to fast forward here into 1999. The tribe purchased this resort right here. It's about 20 some acres of land. We have a little walking trail back here, and it was just 10 cabins and a little restaurant and a little bar. And over time, in that short time, it became more focused on the bar. And so when I came back onto the tribal council in 2005, I knew that something had to be done to change this. Otherwise it was deteriorating. The
cabins were fairly old by then.
The cabins were old, and we built 4 new cabins here. We built this right after we bought it, of course. But the resort was more focused on the party atmosphere rather than the family. And so growing up in the 50s, I danced at Historyland, which was put on by a gentleman named Tony Wise in this community. And Tony would pay our adult dancers and singers and make great friendships with many of our people, and allowed us to use that facility, and he showcased us, really kept our culture alive during that time. And so I remember that. And so I spoke with Becky Taylor, a renowned champion dancer from Lac Courte Oreilles here. And I said, Becky, we need to do something, because we talked about saving our culture as much as we can and showcasing it, not selling our culture, but enhancing our people and the young people and give them a chance to make some money. And they dance here. And you can look around and look at the tourists, and this is family oriented. And I knew we were a success last year when I came around in the corner and I seen this place out here just full of boats. And the tourists were dancing, little blonde-haired children with our native children, hand in hand, dancing on a round dance. And I said to myself, yeah, they might not be dancing to that beat of that drum, but they're dancing to their own beat. And this is what it's about. And so this is really, I'm just pleased with what I see here tonight, and I'm glad you're here. News from Indian Country.
Yeah, thank you. They did some renovations last year to the lodge here. Tell us a little bit of what's inside the lodge. We'll take a view of that in a minute.
As I said, when we first purchased, the focus was the bar, and not so much on the food. And so we flip-flopped that around. Now the bar is not so prominent, and it's a smaller bar that closes at 9 o'clock p.m. And the restaurant now is more prominently featured with photos of local history. The muskie fishery here, of course. This is where the world record muskie was brought in by Louis Spray, right here on the Chippewa Flowage. And so
it's got a chart of all muskies over the years, hundreds of them. Huh?
That's right, and we still display the muskie here. And today it's pretty much all catch and release. But families come here, and we host the biggest family gathering here in the spring. It's called Fishing Has No Boundaries for handicapped fisher people, and it's made up of hundreds of volunteers to bring people together. And Lac Courte Oreilles was the first tribe and the first sponsor that gave cash to the organization. And so this is what we do in this community, and we're real proud of it. We want to emphasize our culture here, and the themes in the cabin are wildlife themes. And non-smoking, by the way, non-smoking inside the bar, non-smoking inside the cabins, and non-smoking inside the restaurant.
Fresh air.
Fresh air. We're going green.
All right. I understand someone was saying they rent pontoons out of here.
We rent pontoons. We rent boats. We have a little bait shop here. We sell the gas to the tourists, and we have native guides and other guides that guide on this lake and other lakes.
If someone wanted to find out information about coming up to the landing, where would they look to? Call the Chamber of Commerce, the tribe, or?
We're on a link on the Hayward Lakes area lakes, and we're also on, of course, our own. We have our own website. It's called thelanding.com, and you can come in a virtual tour of the cabins.
www.thelanding.com.
We also have inside here, we're hooked up for internet access as well.
People like that. It's a must. Thank you very much, Gosh.
You're welcome.